Across the ages, love has been celebrated as the force that moves the stars and stirs the soul, yet within its embrace lies a power so intense it can veer into the realms of the ethereal and the eerie. Before we bid adieu to the month of February, we seek to uncover the darker aspects of love, a force capable of transcending the veil between life and death, binding the living to the spectral world in bonds as unbreakable in death as they were in life. Good evening, and welcome to another captivating episode of SkaryTales, where myths and legends come alive under the moonlit sky. My name is Mr. Rook, your guide through these enigmatic hallowed halls where we illuminate the obscure and whisper life into the forgotten. Tonight, we stand at the threshold of a journey not into the warm and waiting arms of love's embrace, but into its more shadowed corridors, where passion intertwines with the supernatural and desire merges with obsession and madness. It is here, in these twilight realms, that love reveals its capacity to cast the longest shadows, to touch the very bounds of eternity and madness. From the moonlit sky of the Piazza Farnese to the haunted halls of Raynham, our journey will uncover the depths to which a heart can sink in the name of love, and the heights to which it can soar, even beyond the grave. So gather round the fire as we peer into the heart's shadowed depths, where love and loss entwine, and where the veil between this world and the next grows thin. Welcome, dear friends, to SkaryTales. In the shadowed alleys behind Piazza Farnese, within the narrow confines of Vicolo delle Grotte, a spectral figure is said to roam under the cloak of night. This is no ordinary apparition, but the restless spirit of Giuseppe Balsamo, a man better known to the world as Alexander, Count of Cagliostro. His life was a tapestry woven from the threads of esoteric mysteries and dark ambitions, a journey that saw him embrace the roles of alchemist, Freemason, healer, and by some accounts, forger and charlatan. His path crossed with the beguiling Lorenza Serafina Feliciani, a striking beauty of just 17 within the pleasure houses that once marked Vicolo delle Grotte. Their union, solemnized in the year 1768 at San Salvatore in Campo, was the beginning of a partnership that spanned the breadth of Italy and the courts of Europe. Yet their tale took a dark turn upon their return to Rome in 1789. It was then that Lorenza, driven by a mix of fear and despair, lodged a grievous complaint against her husband. Her accusations were severe: mistreatment, the illicit practice of magic, fraud, solicitation, and even heresy. Seized by the authorities, Cagliostro found himself a prisoner within the foreboding walls of Castel Sant'Angelo, where he was subjected to no fewer than 43 interrogations. Despite the ordeal, Lorenza stood firm in her testimony, sealing her husband's fate to a life of solitude in a cell so devoid of hope it bore no doors, accessible only by a trapdoor from above. It was in this grim abode that Cagliostro spent his final years, succumbing to the shadows in 1795. Legend whispers that Cagliostro's spirit cannot find peace, forever tethered to Vicolo delle Grotte, where he calls out into the night for his Lorenza, his voice a testament to their tumultuous bond. Lorenza's own fate was marked by isolation and penitence. Though cleared of complicity, she was confined to the convent of Santa Apollonia for 15 long years. Her final days were spent as a concierge at the Germanic College in Piazza Sant'Apollinare, a life shadowed by the weight of her actions against Cagliostro. Death claimed her in 1810, but it is said that her spirit, veiled in sorrow and draped in black, wanders from the alleys of Trastevere to Piazza di Spagna, retracing the steps of their shared past. She is a phantom driven by remorse, endlessly searching for the husband whose downfall she precipitated. Her moans and whispers a haunting melody in the eternal city's nocturne. Thus the story of Cagliostro and Lorenza endures, a chilling tale of love entwined with darkness, each seeking the other in an endless dance beyond the veil of death. Nestled within the sultry embrace of Louisiana, amidst ancient cypress trees adorned with Spanish moss and the haunting whispers of voodoo, lies the Myrtle's plantation, a place as beautiful as it is cursed. Its walls echo with the tales of the past, none more chilling than the story of Khloe, a slave who became both victim and specter in a tale of forbidden love and betrayal. The story of Khloe and the children began with the second owner, Judge Clark Woodruff, who supposedly took Khloe on as a mistress. But as time passed, Khloe grew fearful that the judge would discard her for a new lover. Desperate to maintain her position, Khloe began eavesdropping on the family's conversations, hoping to glean any hint of her fate. Unfortunately, her clandestine activities were discovered by the judge, who, in a fit of rage, mutilated her by slicing off one of her ears. To conceal her disfigurement, Khloe wore a green turban around her head, a constant reminder of her shame. As tensions simmered between Khloe and the Woodruff family, an opportunity arose for Khloe to prove her loyalty. Directed to help set up a birthday party for the Woodruff's eldest daughter, Khloe devised a plan to ingratiate herself with the family. She secretly poisoned the birthday cake with oleander leaves, intending to make the family mildly ill and then nurse them back to health, thus demonstrating her value. However, her plan backfired tragically, and the poison claimed the lives of the young girls, their mother, and her unborn child. Fearing the wrath of the judge, the other slaves of Myrtle's plantation took matters into their own hands. In a desperate bid to save themselves from his anger, they formed a lynch mob and seized Khloe from her sleep. They hanged her from one of the oak trees, her lifeless body weighted with rocks and cast into the unforgiving waters of the Mississippi River. Today, Khloe's spirit is said to linger within the walls of the Myrtle's plantation, forever tormented by the consequences of her actions and the betrayal of those she once served. Visitors to the Myrtles speak of a woman in a green turban, seen wandering the halls, her gaze sorrowful, her presence a cold whisper against the skin. They say she seeks forgiveness, a respite from her eternal torment, her story a macabre testament to the dangers of love, twisted into obsession and desperation. The Myrtle's plantation stands now as a monument to many spirits, but Khloe's is one that lingers most heavily in the air, a cautionary tale of love, jealousy, and the lengths to which a heart scorned will go to find some semblance of peace or power. As we explore these haunted hearts, let us tread lightly, for the line between passion and poison is often as thin as the veil between this world and the next. In the shadowed streets of Japan lie whispers of the tale of Kuchisake Ona, the slit-mouthed woman, a vengeful spirit, or onryo, born from the darkest corners of human emotion. Legend has it she was once a woman of unparalleled beauty, married to a samurai. Driven by jealousy and rage over her infidelity, her husband took a blade to her face, leaving her with a grotesque permanent smile, then met her demise at his hands. Now she wanders, a mask covering her scars, asking unsuspecting passers-by a chilling question, "Am I beautiful?" If one answers no, she reveals her mutilated visage and meets their denial with a swift, violent death. Say yes, and she removes her mask, presenting the ghastly gash that disfigures her once beautiful face. The horror-stricken victim, paralyzed by fear, can only watch as she draws a sharp scissor, mirroring upon them the fate she suffered, ensuring their screams join the chorus of whispers that tell her tale. According to legend, in the face of this vengeful onryo, there are but 3 paths to potential salvation. The first and second paths involve offerings of money or sweet confections to divert her attention, buying precious moments to flee her wrath. The third path, however, is a perilous gamble, for it demands that one answer her haunting inquiry of, "Am I beautiful?" by describing her appearance as merely average. However, let it be known that we here at SkaryTales advise against ever telling a lady such a thing, lest you experience a terror of an entirely different nature. Kuchisake Ona's story remains a haunting embodiment of love's perversion into possession and vengeance. It serves as a grim reminder of the fine line between affection and obsession, where the latter can drive one to unspeakable acts. Her presence in the tapestry of folklore speaks volumes about the cultural fears surrounding beauty, fidelity, and the wrath of a woman scorned. In the misty corridors of England's grand estate, Rainham Hall, the tale of the Brown Lady endures, a spectral apparition said to be that of Dorothy Walpole. She was once entwined in a tempest of love and high society, a noble woman caught in a forbidden affair with the dashing Lord Wharton. History whispers of their clandestine love, a passion that once blazed beyond the chambers of propriety and expectation. Tragically, their affair was unearthed by Dorothy's husband, Viscount Charles Townshend, a man whose heart was once captivated by her grace, only to be embittered by betrayal. Enraged by her infidelity, the Viscount's love curdled into a vengeful fury, condemning Dorothy to a fate as cruel as it was unusual. He sequestered her within the confines of her chambers at Rainham Hall, a prison veiled in opulence, where she languished away from the world's prying eyes until death claimed her from loneliness and despair. Yet it is said that Dorothy's spirit could not find peace in the afterlife. Instead, she wanders the hallways of her gilded cage, her presence marked by the rustle of her silken gown and the chilling visage that earned her the moniker, the Brown Lady. Captured in a photograph in 1936, her apparition, descending the grand staircase, became one of the most compelling pieces of evidence of the supernatural, a ghostly image that has intrigued and terrified in equal measure. The Brown Lady of Rainham Hall serves as a haunting reminder of the chains that bind even after death, of a heart ensnared by jealousy and the lengths to which it can drive a soul to ensure its beloved never wanders astray again. As we continue to unravel tales of cursed hearts, we turn our gaze to a tale of love twisted by betrayal, vengeance, and the darkest depths of the human soul. Our journey takes us back to ancient Greece, where the tragic figure of Medea reigns supreme. Her tale is one of love and betrayal, woven with strands of magic and tragedy. Before the storm of vengeance, there was a tempest of passion, a love born amidst deceit and treachery. In the land of gods and heroes, Medea, a princess of Colchis and sorceress of formidable power, fell deeply in love with the dashing hero Jason, who came seeking the Golden Fleece. Succumbing to Jason's golden tongue and promises of happily ever after, Medea found herself ensnared in a love that would ultimately become her undoing. In her love for him, she defied her father, King Aeetes, and devised the death of her own brother Apsyrtus as she aided Jason in his quest. Her loyalty to Jason knew no bounds, and together they embarked on a journey fraught with danger and peril. With Medea's cunning and magical prowess, they secured the Golden Fleece, but their triumph came at a cost that would ultimately lead to tragedy. For, as the legend tells, Jason's affection soon waned, his eyes turning to another, a princess of Corinth, whose hand promised power and prestige. Betrayed and scorned, Medea's love curdled into a fury unmatched by mortal reckoning. In her desperation and rage, Medea turned to the dark arts, concocting a potion of unspeakable power, a potion that would grant her the means to exact a terrible vengeance upon her faithless lover. In revenge against Jason, Medea murders her own sons along with his new bride with a poisoned crown and robes, so that Jason will be without an heir and legacy for the rest of his life. And so, with the innocence of her own children as her unwitting accomplices, Medea wrought a terrible revenge upon Jason. Her actions, born of love, twisted into madness, left a trail of destruction in their wake, a legacy of sorrow and despair that still haunt the annals of history. In the rippling silence of northern Italy, nestled within the embrace of the earth, the lovers of Valdaro lie in an eternal embrace. This poignant discovery, dating back some 6,000 years, presents a stark contrast to the tales of spectral hauntings and vengeful spirits that often shroud the narratives of love. Here, in the serene quiet of their final resting place, two skeletons were found, locked in an everlasting embrace, as if to defy the very notion of death severing the bonds of love. This archaeological marvel whispers of a love so profound, a connection so unbreakable, that not even the passage into the afterlife could untangle their entwined souls. The lovers of Valdaro, named after the site of their discovery, offer a glimpse into a narrative that transcends the ages, serving as a testament to the enduring power of love. As we delve into the mysteries that surround these eternal lovers, many questions arise. Were they young lovers, cruelly separated by fate, yet reunited in death? Or perhaps their burial was a ceremonial act, meant to symbolize the unity and continuation of life beyond the mortal coil? The exact circumstances of their lives and deaths may forever elude us, yet the symbolism of their eternal embrace resonates deeply. In a world often shadowed by tales of love's darker aspects, of lost spirits, cursed affections, and tragic ends, the lovers of Valdaro shine as a beacon of hope and eternal devotion. They remind us that amidst the shadows of sorrow and loss, the light of love remains unwavering, capable of bridging the gap between life and death. Closing the curtain on our exploration of love's enigmatic and sometimes dark facets, let the lovers of Valdaro serve as a final note, a melody of love's timeless and indomitable spirit. In their silent vigil, wrapped in the arms of one another, they whisper across millennia the simple yet profound truth that love, in its purest form, knows no bounds, no end, and no death. As our journey through the darker side of love concludes, we find ourselves reflecting on the profound duality of this most enigmatic of human emotions. Love, with its capacity to uplift and to devastate, serves as both the light and shadow in the tapestry of our lives. It drives us to acts of great courage and deep despair, binding us across time and space with its inexorable pull. Yet amid the tales of spectral lovers and cursed affections, a thread of hope persists. It reminds us that love, in its truest form, is a force of connection and renewal. Like the eternal embrace of the lovers of Valdaro, it speaks of a bond that not even death can sever, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, love remains our guiding light. And so, as we part ways with the shadows and mysteries that have enveloped our journey, let us carry forward the understanding that love, in all its complexity, remains a vital essence of our lives. It shapes our stories, propels our actions, and, in its most profound moments, reveals the depth of our capacity for both joy and sorrow. My dear friends, our tale for this evening has concluded, but our journey does not end here. Visit us again soon. Here, in our little corner of the ether, we shall unravel another tale, a story imbued with fear, superstition, and perhaps the occasional sprinkle of fairy dust. We hope you enjoyed tonight's story. Join us again as we delve into the pages of history, folklore, and some things that make us wonder and perhaps others that make us shudder. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to SkaryTales. We're a small channel, but with your help we'll continue to grow. Together we'll explore the shadows and the light of the world's most enchanting and terrifying tales. Until we meet again, remember, love's true power lies not in its ability to shield us from the darkness, but in its capacity to guide us through it. Sleep well and good night.